Hi guys, what's going on, and welcome back to another video on Conqueror's Blade. So, we have finally just had the Season 9 announcement. And I thought, well, we might as well cover it, since it's kind of an important thing whenever we get any sort of new seasonal stuff announced, because there's a few good things and a few perhaps not necessarily quite so good things and a few sort of concerning things, so hopefully we'll be able to cover them all. So, first up, it's coming on September the 28th, pretty close to the end of the last season. The date's kind of annoying in the sense that it's the same day that New World comes out, so I'm going to have be having two computers and trying to play two things at once, but that's going to make things a little bit interesting. But from the point of view of sort of the downtime, good that they've kept it relatively short. They've definitely in the past made the mistake of having these quite sort of long inter-season downtime periods, and the player numbers really sort of drop off in those periods and there's nothing specific going on. So in the sense of, at least they're getting it sort of out and ready pretty quickly from the end of Season 8. So we don't really seem to have kind of a specific historical theme this time round. I guess this kind of feels a little bit like Season 6, when we had kind of the wintry Northman type theme, but it wasn't really sort of specific to one historical faction. And this kind of seems to be sort of like a slight Middle Eastern, maybe slight Mad Max type themed season, which is kind of interesting. We know we're going to be getting 3 seasonal units, but therein lies one of the first issues, I think, for me. So let's have a look at this here, what it says down here then. So it says, unlock 3 new seasonal units. Fine, although not exactly very many, we're on the lower end. Tyrant's armies continues the rebels. Stoke the flames with a band of axe throwers. Okay, so that's interesting for a start. Axe throwers. Sounds kind of cool. Looks interesting. Well, doesn't look interesting. We're not going to need pictures of them. Sounds kind of cool. What's going to be the difference between an axe thrower and a javelin unit? I'm going to assume axe throwers are going to have fairly low ammunition, like a javelin unit. They're going to have fairly high alpha damage, like a javelin unit. Maybe they're going to be better in melee than a javelin unit. We're not quite sure around there. And I think if we go over and look on here, yes, on the Frontier version, so I'm just comparing the two announcements, it confirms that the axe throwers are a 4-star unit. So we know they're going to be the same unit of same level as Imperial Javelins or Javelin Sergeants. So that's kind of where we're at. So not sure, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Javelin Cavalry. Well, we know from over here that they're a tier 3 unit. Going to be interesting. Cavalry as a javelin unit. I honestly don't know. I could see them not being particularly useful. Most maps, particularly in Siege, don't necessarily have the space for something like this. We have obviously recently seen the buff to the Iron Cap Bow Riders, which kind of made them a lot more viable, but still, not exactly a unit that's dominating the map. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how Javelin Cavalry play out in that. But then on to the real clincher. It goes, later on, an explosive force from the Far East will arrive to help turn the tide of battle. It confirms on this one that it's an explosive tier 5 unit will turn the tide of battle. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that's almost certainly the Musket Grenadiers that we were supposed to be getting in Season 8. So that's kind of interesting. Obviously, it was kind of annoying that the unit didn't obviously get released last season. I can kind of live with that. If there was a problem with the unit, fine, so be it. But it is kind of annoying that we've had absolutely no announcements about the Grenadiers at all. They were in the Season 8 trailer, they were the unit that was coming, everyone's excited, we're finally getting, the tier 5 unit that carries on from the Imperial Muskets on the tech tree, and then bang, nothing. Gone. What unit? Everyone denies knowledge of it. And now it looks like to me that they're bringing them back in now in Season 9. I can live with this, it's fine, so long as they go on the tech tree. If they don't go on the tech tree, then that's going to throw things quite into the lurch for me. That's going to be quite a problem. So I don't know if you guys agree with me on this one. For me, they have to be on the tech tree. You can have them on the unit challenges as well, like the PVs, so you've got the option to do them, but it's really important that they come out on the tech tree as well, because that's what they were originally intended to be, that's what everyone was expecting, and to kind of do a U-turn on that kind of throws everything else into it. Now, one thing I did just notice while watching this is, even though they don't put a sort of historical attribute to it, if we go and look over here, I just noticed it was... talking about the dreadful regime spearheaded by Cambyses, which is an old Persian name, I believe, like the old Achaemenid Persians. So maybe it's supposed to be more of like a sort of semi-historical Persian dynasty. It's kind of an interesting one, because that's definitely my slightly feeble grasp on Achaemenid Persian history. I think that's definitely a name I remember. But anyway, moving on. Battle Pass sounds like the same Battle Pass that we have for the last 9 seasons. We talk about 2 seasonal attires like we do. You can unlock these with the Battle Pass, and then when you flick over here, it gives slightly more details. 100 levels of rewards, 16 bonus items, all the usual stuff. You know, the Battle Passes haven't really changed over the previous seasons, and from the sounds of it, it's not changing on this one. Now, next up, the pre-ordering. So this is kind of something that it seems a lot worse. Now, I know you could definitely say that, of course, you can, once the unit unlocks in-game, you can effectively just spend sovereigns and spam your way through it anyway. And so I suppose in reality it doesn't really change anything. Where was it? Yeah, here. But it just somehow seems a lot worse to me to be able to say you can now pre-order seasonal units in-game and buy the markets before the season even launches. So that they basically insta-unlock as soon as they come available. I don't know, it just seems worse to me. It just seems more money grabby. I don't really like this. I think everyone understands the system of the sovereigns. I think we kind of don't necessarily like that, but we can live with that. And I think when you start putting it like really in your face as a pre-order, look at all these people who are going to pre-order and you're going to be there grinding through all these challenges for the next 4 weeks. It just seems worse to me. So I'd kind of rather they didn't do this. There's no mention of this on the Frontier version. So it kind of suggests that they're not going to be doing it, although that's something I'm definitely going to keep an eye on. I don't think we need this. I think everyone knows you can do it with sovereigns. I know we had the pre-order with the Pike. I don't think we need it with every seasonal unit going forwards, and I'd much rather they kind of avoided doing this style of marketing, because I think it just annoys everyone, myself included. And I think that really covers most of the stuff. Oh, no, it doesn't. Territory Wars. So they go on to say we're bringing new Territory War improvements. I know they've been looking at kind of reworking Territory Wars for a while now. They don't really go into any detail on the article. They'll say, obviously, stay tuned for more details. So hopefully we'll have a little bit more information on that. They go on to say NPC factions will be joining the Territory Wars. So that's obviously sounding a bit like they don't use the word cohorts. It's sounding like that's perhaps going to be different. And then we've got the new House of Fame feature. I don't really know anything about this other than having heard of the name. So I think this is something we're going to have to keep an eye on and sort of look into a little bit more. It'd be interesting if they do rework the Territory War system. I think a lot of people are pretty fed up with the Territory War system as it currently is. So if they are going to sort of change it, adjust it, improve it, hopefully, then I think that probably would be a good thing. Anyway, I think we'll probably end the video there, because otherwise we're just rambling on. Bit of interesting stuff coming. Seems like it may be sort of a Persian Mad Max style season. Some interesting new units coming. Hope the muskets go in the tech tree. Don't like the pre-order. Do like the idea of a Territory War rework. That was the too long didn't read version. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and I shall see you all guys on the next video.